Hello and welcome to the 61st episode of the BTF podcast. That is the Back to Football podcast, the number one podcast for people who probably should talk about something other than football. Now, we are on the 25th of June. It's a Friday night. It's 7:45 in the evening. Outside, it's nice and light. The temperature is perfect. So why are we inside doing a podcast? Well, the Euros are on, and this is the perfect lull between the group stage and the knockout stages. And yeah, we wanted to talk about what we think is going to happen during the rest of the tournament. I am joined currently only by Mr. Greg TMR. How are you?
All good, man. All good. Every time you say that, I remember to rename myself on.
Yeah, I saw it as I was reading it out. I was like looking at your human name.
But yeah, apart from that, all good. A
Yeah.
couple of seconds before we went and recorded, I spilled about half my beer all over the place. But
you did. Yeah,
that's how we do. Off the rails, BTF off the rails, new
BTF
series.
Off the rails. Yeah, you had you had some fish and chips, didn't you, this evening? I wanted to wait until we're on the podcast to ask you about that because
Beautiful.
Yeah, how was it?
Really good, because I'm by the coast. I think that
You're by. Oh, the coast.
Yeah, exactly. It's my big coming out episode.
Shout out Grace.
Pride Month. Yeah, because we're by the coast. I think that they all get it fairly locally and everything like that. So it's always like
from the sea, probably, I would think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, wandering about. So it's like always a fat fish, like nice. Beautiful. Yeah, they all do it. They take a little bit longer, but they do it to order, so you know it's fresh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, my mum used to own fish and chip shops.
Wait, what?
My mum used to own fish and chip shops, so she knows the deals. She knows what's the business. She knows what's going on. Yeah, I got cod, chips, curry sauce, and a buttered roll.
Yeah, curry sauce. I've only had that once. Like, we very rarely get fish and chips. It's not. I don't know why, but usually only get fish and chips if my dad is like up visiting or something like that. But occasionally we'll remember that fish and chips exists and get fish and chips. And I love fish and chips. I think it's a great meal. But yeah, I've only had curry sauce once, and that was like the most recent time that I've had fish and chips.
Oh right.
And yeah, it's interesting. It was. I don't know whether does the curry sauce vary from.
Yeah, you can get
chippy to chippy, as we would say.
Yeah, you can get some that are quite lumpy, which.
Yeah, the one I had was lumpy.
And then you can get them that are quite thin, and some do it like piping hot that has obviously been like in the microwave for 3 minutes, but some might actually properly like heat it, that kind of thing. So it does vary, but I like a little bit of like adding a bit of spice to that.
Sauce.
Quote Chris Eubank, but yeah, that's how we roll down here, baby.
Yeah, nice. Like we say, we might. It's me and Greg at the moment. We might be joined by the option is there for the other lads to drop in throughout the show. So we may be joined by others. It might just be me and Greg, and we're probably going to approach this from a point of view that actually we're hoping to get some clips out of this for social media. So you might be watching this on YouTube as the full thing, but really this is just a TikTok speed run of all of our thoughts and feelings on football and the Euros. I guess before we get into the Euros then, first topic is Grealish £100 million offer apparently on the table from Manchester City. Do Manchester City have any respect for the England camp right now? They put $100 million in for Kane, and now they're doing this with Grealish. Seems quite disruptive.
Here it is, man. Like, footballers will deal with this all the time. I mean, I'm a Tottenham fan, obviously. It's like we've got in our camp at the end of our season, we had Harry Kane doing that Gary Neville interview, all things like that. And throughout a season, you'll have contract talks with, like, if you're training on a football pitch, your mate, he's in the news because he's talked with this and his agent's done that. A lot of it's agents all the time. So I think that, there is a case, but then transfer market's open season, they've got to do their business. And look, Grealish is a class player, man. 100 million if he goes for that. If he's brilliant as he is now at Aston Villa, imagine him under a Pep Guardiola, what you can achieve. Go for it. And 100 million, I mean, that makes it a little bit more difficult for them to push for Harry Kane. So I'm happy with that. Go for it, boys. Sign him.
Yeah. I mean, it's you would think as well that 100 million is a starting offer, as I would also expect that is with Harry Kane.
For sure.
So the idea that City can go north of 200 for just two players.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Is kind of crazy. And it does suggest as well that Erling Haaland is, other people can go for Erling Haaland basically. If City surely cannot fork out, because they'd be paying the best part of 500 million if they ended up getting all three of those players.
For sure.
And there's no way that you can have Kane and Haaland, I guess, in one squad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just thought it's interesting timing. I know international tournaments do always fall around this time, and I can't remember too many tournaments that Steven Gerrard played at where there wasn't speculation about his future. Same with Wayne Rooney,
For sure,
David Beckham. It is a classic time where there's a lot of speculation, and hopefully the players are sort of big enough to rise above that.
Well, players and agents do it themselves as well. I mean, whenever there's an international break and they've got a bit of time away from their clubs, there is that bit of freedom as well when, even in the press, they're not protected by the club loyalties. It's just a national team. So you will get, I remember Paul Pogba, I think, around the October international break, he was saying some things that were a bit critical of United. It is a little bit posturing because I know they can get away with it a little bit. I think it's part and parcel of the game, really.
Yeah. No, I agree. Nuno to Spurs, potentially. Thoughts on that?
Look, man, it's nearly 70 days since we sacked Jose.
Is that all it is? It seems like longer.
Mate, it feels like a lifetime. We've been linked with everyone. I've had a few emails from Daniel Levy. They go straight to the junk and say, Daniel, no, I'm too busy. Got BTF to think about. Do you know what I mean?
Doing hot girl shit.
Look, man, this is me. Yeah, hot girl summer. The thing is, from what I gather is that anything now beyond Conte and Poch coming back is going to be underwhelming for the fans. Preseason starts in 2 weeks, something like that, something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. We need someone in place now. Nuno, no one's really happy about it. It's underwhelming. It is. But look, there's argument for he can be solid at the back. He's a proven, I suppose, manager with Wolves. He brought them up, didn't he, in his first season from the Championship, I think, and kept them steady. They're not the most exciting team to watch. I think I read a stat that in their highest scoring season, they only scored 47 goals because of the defensive system that he plays. But then you look at the quality that Wolves have, and will he adapt to the Tottenham way that a lot of people want a manager to come in and have? But look, we're running out of time. We aren't a club that is an attractive proposition at the moment. I think we get Nuno in, see what he can do at this point, and we've got to go from there. Whoever comes in, we've got to back the manager and see what happens with that. But I don't know, anything's going to be underwhelming.
Yeah, I think the thing with Nuno is there's always going to be that question of, does he bring with him the George Mendes situation that Wolves had, and whether that is a whole new system that they could bring to Spurs. I can't see Levy buying into that and the new technical director, but I think that is a big question that there is over Nuno is can he manage maybe without that spoon feeding and without the agent situation with Mendes.
He is a Paratici choice. He's his first choice. He's come in and he's straight away approached Nuno. So there's some hope in that. I mean, Paratici, we're all accepting, weirdly enough, in the Spurs sort of sphere, we're accepting that he's a great appointment, but then the first name that he's bringing to the table, no one's happy with. Well, this is what I mean. You've got to see how it goes. He knows what he's doing, and Nuno, he must impress him in some way. So, the Mendes thing is a worry, but nothing's looking good at the moment. Do you know, it's not. So we're not in a luxury position where we can choose at this point.
To go, I'm just going to paraphrase. If you feel like I'm repeating some things, it's just because I'm trying to paraphrase it for clips. But I do think the situation with Nuno and Spurs does make sense with Paratici.
Fabio Paratici.
So the situation with Nuno and Spurs does make sense because of Paratici, because obviously he would have dealt with George Mendes to bring Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus. George Mendes is basically business partners with Nuno. I think they met in a bar or something, and Nuno was one of his first clients. So the kind of the dots do kind of add up at that point or connect, and it does make sense that Nuno would then be linked with Paratici, and who knows, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo could be turning up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at some point in the next couple of years.
There you go, for sure. And the main thing is that at the moment at Spurs, we need harmony. And whatever our opinion is, whatever we get in the media about this guy or this whatever, if they all see something in each other and they all want to work harmoniously together and point in the right direction, we unfortunately we're at a point where we're stuck in between a hard place and a rock. We have to go with that and see where we can go with it. We're not at the luxury to choose anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think Spurs aren't in an awful position. The Harry Kane situation is probably the biggest kind of cloud over the club at the moment in terms of what does Spurs look like post Kane,
right?
And it was obviously that question before: what does it look like post Bale? And you kind of spent bits and bobs here, and some of the transfers worked out, some didn't. Most of them didn't in terms of how good Bale was for you before, but
for sure.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell what life looks like at Spurs without.
And that is
Harry
the
Kane.
issue. That is the issue. At the moment, you're completely right. We're not in a particularly good place or any particularly bad place. We're on a knife's edge, and that's why this current debacle, this current issue that's going on, is so important to get right. And we do have to just go with it because we are on that knife's edge of right. Okay, we've got a lot of deadwood on the squad that need to go. And we've got Harry Kane who needs to stay. How do we get the right people in to get the wheels in motion to make that happen? It's a tough one at the moment, but, as you say, with Bale, it felt like the end of the world, but it wasn't awful. But
no,
it's not ideal.
You recovered sort of 3 or 4 years after.
Yeah, exactly.
So the cycle begins again. Let's go over to the Euros then, and Gareth Bale, sticking on that subject. Wales play. We'll just go through all of the games and just give our what we think is going to happen. Wales take on Denmark 5 p.m. Saturday. I'll give my prediction for this one. Actually, I won't give my prediction yet. I'll just say Denmark, I feel like are the people's team now in this tournament because of what happened with Eriksen, the fact that they kind of overcame that, rallied back, had that fantastic third game at Park, and they were unlucky to lose to Belgium. And then on the flip side, Wales, I think, have been incredibly impressive as well. I can't hold anything against them, and we do want to see the home nations teams do well. So I'm very on the fence with this one. I think I could be happy for both teams going through, but I think Wales are going to go through. I think Wales just is a different beast.
Sure.
So I don't know. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I completely agree. Really, I think that one thing that I've said to you privately, I think that worries me about Wales is they are a team. They're not just a squad. And you've got plenty of teams in this competition that are squads of great players. Wales aren't particularly a good squad of players, but they're a team, and that's terrifying in these knockout rounds. And I think that on the other side of it, Denmark, after the awful things that have happened in this competition for them, they have become a hell of a team. So I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot of passion. I don't think either of them are going to play for, scraps or anything like that. I think it will be all out, but it will be a slim one because both these teams will match each other really well. I think it's a great way to kick off the knockouts. I will say that Wales edge it slightly. I feel like Denmark
Wales as well.
Yeah, I feel like Denmark could peter out a little bit, but Wales, it takes 1 second, 1 minute, one touch for a bit of Gareth Bale magic, and he's always got that in the locker.
Yeah, I feel like even the magic has come from Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey is just a brilliant player. I was thinking, right, if you had a team GB, right now, and it's not like a sort of ridiculous team GB like we had at the 2012 Olympics, where it was like picking a load of people that like
the contract
just
for
the fun of it, or I don't know, whatever. If you had like a genuine team GB that was like the best 26 players from England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Aaron Ramsey certainly gets into that squad, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. 100%. He's class.
Yeah, and I don't think there are too many other. I think Bale probably scrapes in just on reputation.
I think he's definitely in because he's got those moments, and you need that. I think that that's what we want from an England squad all the time, isn't it? That player that has those moments, and these players aren't delivering at the moment. But and also I think that Joe Rodon. I know I'm a little bit biased with him being a Spurs player, but we've not seen a lot of him at Spurs this season. He's been solid for Wales. He always has been solid for Wales. I think he's only, I think he's 22, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's a good little player. And I think he's crucial for Wales in a way that we don't notice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think his stats have been pretty good. You sent me through some of the tournament stats yesterday.
Which, I've got those in my notes.
Yeah, which we can pull up, I think, when we get to England. So we'll cruise through this next one. Italy, Austria. Any upsets you think in there?
Italy are a problem, man. Italy are going to be a problem. I think they sail through that, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's the first real test. I mean, they opened the tournament against Turkey, who had been touted by everyone to be a really good team.
Yeah.
If they sail through that, and let's say they win 3-0, then they are serious contenders for this tournament.
For sure.
But yeah, I can't see anything other than an Italy win to 0. Then the 5:00 game on Sunday is Netherlands versus Czech Republic. Thoughts?
It's a difficult one. I've not followed either team that closely during the Euros. However, I do know that Netherlands carry an attacking threat, but they're also very shaky at the back. And that could have been a little bit of nerves going into the competition. They may be a bit more set now. And I don't think that the Czech Republic hold the necessary firepower to really challenge that back four for Netherlands. So I think that Netherlands will score goals in that. It's just down to them if they decide that they're going to shit the bed and concede any, to be quite honest. I don't think Czech Republic run away with that. I think it'll be maybe a slim, I'll go for a 3-2 Netherlands.
Oof. Yeah. I see goals both ways, same as you. And I'm going to go that this will be the game. This will be the first. I mean, Wales could easily go to extra time. The problem with this as well is that you start to get that when it gets to 70 minutes in a game, if there's a 1-goal lead or less, so if there's a 1-goal lead or it's a draw at that stage, it's so likely to end up going to extra time.
For sure.
Because
just hold tight, lads.
Yeah. So, but I think this Netherlands game will go to extra time.
Okay.
I think Czech Republic are really heavily underrated in this tournament. And I feel for teams like Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, Croatia, Ukraine to some extent, who kind of get to this round of 16 and people go, oh yeah, even Wales, like people just write them off, but they're in the last 16, so you can't just overlook them.
There's an ever slight thing I have with that in that this tournament specifically, it was so much harder not to qualify than to qualify. So I think that you're absolutely right in what you're saying, and I'm disregarding the Czech Republic, and I will disregard Sweden, Ukraine players, teams like that. But in this competition, it was so difficult to not qualify almost that you've got like Croatia. In any other situation, they're out and they're done for, really, for me personally. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Czech Republic, that Patrick Schick, you can guarantee that he's added an extra 10, 15 million to his price tag this summer by how he's been playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe someone like Man United looking into him. There's so many players as well in this tournament where they're very, very impressive. And then it's either one of the Red Bull clubs. So it'll either be like, oh, he plays for Salzburg, he plays for Leipzig, or Atalanta. They're the three. They seem to be the three clubs in Europe that just produce, and they have great recruitment systems, and they play good, modern attacking football. And there's been quite a few times. There was someone, and I can't think of it right now, but it was one of the goalkeepers. I think it was Hungary's goalkeeper, and they were like, "Oh, he plays for Leipzig.
Gulasic.
Yeah, he plays for Leipzig. You've got Goossens is at Atalanta.
And
then I think Schick is at Leipzig as well, right?
No, he's at Leverkusen.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe he did play for one of the Red Bull teams at some point, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does always seem that there's a bit of a
conspiracy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's at Leverkusen. Yeah. Leipzig before that, and Roma before that.
Mm.
All right. So we're gonna say high scoring game. I'm gonna stick with Netherlands. I think Netherlands go through.
Do you think that they go through? Is it a 0-0 in their extra time, or is it 1 or
Oh no,
2?
it's like 2-2 extra
Oh,
time.
okay.
There's
So
goals both ways.
okay, and then to penalties, or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, we go penos.
cool.
Then we got Belgium and Portugal. Huge game.
Yeah,
My instinct is Portugal. I'm doubling, tripling, like everything down on Portugal at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be my second team all the way to the end of the tournament, hopefully. But yeah, I think Belgium do not look particularly good at the back.
for sure.
They are elite. They're probably the best team in the tournament. Maybe them and France at that like final third part of the game, but certainly in their own half, I think they've got some problems and they are slow. So I just think Portugal can win that game. But yeah, are you going to back Belgium or Portugal?
I'm going to back Belgium. I'm going to go against you on this one. Portugal don't look like Portugal. They're looking strange. Ronaldo's looking like Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, he always will. But Portugal are looking funny at the moment. I mean, that game with France was a weird one with all the penalty drama and things like that. And then the Germany game, like the way that the Germans played around them, it doesn't give me any confidence. And you're absolutely right. I think that Belgium are very vulnerable at the back. You know, Vertonghen's not the young man he used to be. Denayer not. I don't particularly rate him that much. But I see Belgium, they are just so strong up front. And you saw how it was the Denmark game that De Bruyne came on at halftime and completely changed the game. He can do that. He can do that. And I think that if Portugal get one, then Belgium get two. I think it's going to be a case of that.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. I honestly cannot
it's
wait
going to
for
be
that game.
yeah.
8 o'clock on Sunday.
Incredible.
What a way to end the weekend. Yeah. Then the next game on the Monday, 5 o'clock, Croatia take on Spain. Quick predictions for this one. I have a feeling. I did a predictions video today, and I said that Spain would go through, but Croatia are just gnarly when it comes to knockout football, and they're so experienced, and you know Perisic, Modric. Rebic, all of these guys have got like several tournaments under their belt now. Obviously, Modric is like 15 years of international football, basically.
Right.
So they are hard to beat. And Spain, until Busquets came in that last game, Spain have looked bad. And even the game that they did end up winning 5-0 or whatever it was against Slovakia, it was a terrible goalkeeping error by Dubravka, and there was another own goal in there, and you know, I'm just not yet convinced by Spain, but I do think if Busquets starts, they have a chance to control the game. But it's how do you solve a problem like Luka Modric?
It's true.
I would think Koke will be stuck to him like glue. So I'll stick with putting Spain through like I did in my earlier predictions, but I just think Croatia have the potential to take them to extra time at least.
See, I have the same sort of areas of reason as you, just the exact opposite justification, really. I've just got different findings, to be honest. I think that you're right in that Croatia have got an experienced team. I think that they are old and they're looking a little bit dusty, to be quite honest with you. And I think that Spain, that 5-0 mentally would have done so much for them, regardless of if it's an own goal or if Slovakia just were not on it that day, and they really weren't. But you had, I think it was two subs. It was Pau Torres and Ferran Torres. Both came on. Their first touch goals, that momentum and the game that they carry, that I think that will carry them through this. And Croatia, I just don't think they can get out of that gear that they need to beat Spain. You're right. I've not been convinced by Spain in the tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way than I'm predicting. But I think that's a Spain 2-0.
Okay. Yeah. I think we would like to see Spain go through to the quarterfinals, certainly. Next game, France. Should we just say France are going to beat Switzerland? Is that a given?
That's a given, I think.
Yeah. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it's like
it will.
1-0, 2-0 maybe.
Yeah.
But
France are playing a bit tactically, aren't they? They're not going as gung-ho as everyone hopes they would, maybe. But yeah, they control that game 100%.
I think they've still got gears to move
exactly
into.
For sure.
And we hope that is the case with England. We hope England have got extra gears to move into, and we've got basically one game to find out if that is true.
Are we on to them yet?
England taking on Germany, 5 o'clock Tuesday at Wembley in front of, I believe, 45,000 fans. So basically half capacity. That should make a massive, massive difference. I guess let's just go with predictions on score first. What are you thinking, Greg? Or do you want to go into other things first? And
for my prediction, I think I need to give I need to build up to it, maybe.
So what are you thinking about England, Germany?
I think that you're right in the atmosphere and the home advantage should make a difference. I think that we've played all 3 of our games at home at the moment, and it hasn't, for me, made that difference. We have not kicked into the gear that we need to. We see a lot of it with the English pundits after the game and after we finish the group and finish top of the group, which is an achievement for sure. We can't doubt that. The key word was job done, job done, job done. I said this in the last podcast. We need to be judging England by the aspiration that they have. And the aspiration is clear that the aspiration is, with the squad that we have, to win the tournament. You cannot really be having the mentality of job done, draw against Scotland. That's fine. Did what we need to. It's still a point in the group. Top the group. I'm not liking that, and it worries me because we alluded to it earlier. Squawker released a 1.5-minute video outlining some key stats from the tournament so far after the first 3 games, and there's obvious things like most shots created, tackles, passes, saves, clearances, all over the pitch, all the top statistics, and it had the top 10 players that have achieved those. We don't feature in any of them, not in the top 10 for any of the stats. And this is what worries me about Southgate, is that you cannot argue then that any of this is tactical. None of it is tactical. If it was tactical, we would have Declan Rice third up there with the most clearance, with the most interceptions, or the most tackles from Calvin Phillips, or the most chances created from Raheem Sterling. It worries me, and I feel like we needed in that last game against Czech Republic to win it 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Why not? Harry Kane to get his first goal, clean sheet, all of that bollocks, and good performance. We got the goal, and that second half was abysmal. That second half was Scotland. It was a Scotland game. And that worries me because Germany are on a roll. They're loving life, and they will not. The minute that ball kicks off, they're in their 5th gear. And if we go 1-0 down early, I don't see us, and I certainly don't see Southgate on the touchline saying, okay, this is what we're doing now. This will change this. This is what we're doing to get back in the game. I don't think it happens. And for me, to answer your question, the game finishes, and I hope I'm wrong, 2-0 Germany.
I hope you're wrong as well.
Yeah, for sure. I hope he proves me wrong. I don't want that to happen. That's just my cynical outlook on this.
Yeah, so my thoughts with that game is if we win, I don't even... It's we're at that point now in the tournament where a 1-0 is absolutely fine. And I get the idea that whoever wins tournaments, you don't think about the group stages. You don't remember the group stages. You don't look back on the group stages and go, oh, that was the bet. That was the highlight of the tournament. It's all about the games ahead of us now. If we beat Germany, then everything that happened in the group stages, all of the boring, soulless, crap football that we played, there was 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there that was elite. I'm not saying that we didn't play any good football at all, but all of that football doesn't matter because we will have, in 5-10 years' time, do you remember that night at Wembley, or that afternoon at Wembley, whatever you want to call it, evening probably, where we beat Germany, and wasn't that a memorable occasion? Wasn't that a great feeling? Similar to when we beat Colombia at the 2018 World Cup. That I still remember that night, and that was a great feeling. And Colombia, had a lot of injuries, had a lot of people missing, and they're not, one of the very, very top teams in the world. They're a very good team. But that still felt like a great night, and it was a great moment for everyone to just come together and enjoy a win. And the good thing with knockout football is you win, and then you usually have like 4 or 5 days until your next game. So you can surf that feeling for whatever, like 72 hours or so before you're into your next game.
Right.
If we get that win against Germany, it will be huge. It will be, I can't even quantify like how good that feeling will be for everyone. Because then we'll go on to face Sweden or Ukraine, and people will suddenly be feeling like, hang on, we've got hopefully a semi-final on the cards here. We're off to Rome. No English people can go because you've got to quarantine for 5 days, and the game happens, less than 5 days after the round of 16 game. So anyone presumably in the stadium cannot be at both games. So all the vloggers and bloggers will have to choose. Your Thogden and Troops and all of these people that seem to be, you mentioned the crowd not being that much of an influence. I think everyone in the crowd is a fucking YouTube vlogger at the moment.
That's very true.
No wonder they're not making much noise for England. It's because they're filming their reactions for their channels. I think there is there is a conversation to be had there about football and these influencers, and these influencers will be very much for the people and for the fans, but ultimately they're paying they're driving prices up, or they're able to pay top dollar for probably
sponsorship deals, isn't it?
What's it called? Not sponsor. Yeah, well, sponsorship to be there, I think, or what's it called? Like when you resale, like scalped tickets, basically.
Oh, right.
And yeah, I dread to think what some of these influencers or the companies that are sending them to these games are actually paying to get them in. And then in turn, the people that are being emailed, oh, sorry, we know you had tickets for this game, but we've had to cancel them because the capacity's lower now.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these football vloggers and stuff that are there. But yeah, that's a different conversation anyway. But if England win, it's huge. I have no idea how we win. It's on the day. It is going to just be, when that whistle blows, it's going to be completely based on how the players react in that moment. I don't think Southgate will have much influence on the whole situation. It is literally going to be, you put those players out on the pitch, how do they respond to that moment? And a lot of that goes down to, it's decisions made at key times in the game. There is an element of luck in there. It's how the ball actually falls for you. If you get a chance early on, do you take it? Do you score? But I just think it is the biggest 50-50 coin toss game I've ever known in football. Like, I don't think it's a good enough Germany team to say that they come in and roll us. And I don't think England have shown anything or enough to say that we can go out and do this whole, we're sort of touting ourselves as these 1-0 kings at the moment, or this great defensive team that doesn't ever concede goals, and that's why we're winning. We've actually been pretty poor defensively. We've conceded a lot of shots. Pickford, I think, has been very solid. He's been potentially one of my England players of the tournament so far. I think you can't really look past Sterling, and Calvin Phillips has been very, very good for us as well. But Pickford's made some key saves. And, ultimately the law of averages is that if you concede a lot more shots and you play more attacking, talented teams, there's going to be more shots on goal, and therefore Pickford's not going to be able to save everything.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, I really don't know how this game goes. In my prediction, I've gone for 1-0 to England, but if Germany play anything like they did against Portugal, they're causing us problems. But yeah, it's going to be what worries me a little bit is that after the Scotland game, everyone was like, oh, well, the Scotland game was special circumstances. It's like a derby game. The players were obviously like feeling the pressure of that derby. England, Germany is a derby game.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a huge derby game as well. So
yeah,
if they were too nervous to play against Scotland or too nervous to come out of their shells and express themselves on the pitch against Scotland, then surely it's going to be the same story against Germany. And I don't know. I just think Germany have got the better coaching staff there.
For sure.
And you can bet your life Hansi Flick is probably involved in the setup as well. I know he's there as, he's sort of part of the bubble, I think, with the German squad. And
he's not there on holiday. He's not there just for a holiday.
I would think, him obviously coming in after the tournament, but previously being the assistant, I think he's going to have some influence on that thing. But I don't know. I just think it is a complete coin toss. I really hope, and if we get onto lineups, I hope that we don't play 5 at the back and 2 holding. But I think we will. I think he will go with that Kyle Walker at right centre back, then probably James and Shaw, as well as Stones and Maguire in the middle, then Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, or he might even go with Rice and Henderson for all we know.
James over Trippier.
Same
on that right.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Is Trippier even? Can he still play right back? He's a left back now. Who knows? But yeah, and then up front, I can't see him playing Grealish. I don't think he's going to play Sancho. Sancho is an interesting one here because he plays week in, week out in the Bundesliga against German players,
and incredibly, this guy's no joke. He's about to sign for Manchester United for 95 million or something stupid.
Yeah,
the German papers I've seen on Twitter and all things like that, people are begging, questioning, how is he not play? How is he not featuring? How is he not featuring until the 81st minute? I mean, Gareth Southgate is a joke, man. He cannot be watching Bundesliga football. He cannot. He just it doesn't turn it on. Just doesn't watch it. Rejects it. Just Premier League, please. He will not. Yeah. If ever he was going to experiment, it was in the group. He's notorious for just sticking into his guns. I don't know if he's got an ego the size of a bus that he thinks that what he's doing is perfectly brilliant, or he cannot make those difficult decisions. I've accused him of both on the podcast. Subscribe for more of that, Southgate out. But you can guarantee Raheem Sterling starts every game. Harry Kane starts every game. Harry Maguire will be starting every game. Hendo, you're probably right. That's probably a good call. He probably will start that game. I did see some people analysing that second half of the Czech Republic, and we're saying that it was very uninspiring and not great. Some people have suggested that it was an exercise in playing without the ball, which is a good exercise to play if the next game you've got is against the Germans that are going to be playing with the ball. So maybe there's some sense in that, but I can't see. And I think your appraisal of England is so generous, Dan, because I can't see. There's no moments that I've seen, and this is what I was talking about Gareth Bale and those players like that moments come from. I cannot pinpoint a player that you're going to get a moment from, unless Harry Kane out of nowhere does score an amazing goal, and then we do sit on it and we defend tightly, which again, I haven't seen those moments from the defence. Pickford, of course, has been good, but you're right in that, if you get 10 shots against you, what are the odds of one of them going in? It's a difficult game, man, and I don't think that Southgate's up to the task. I really don't. And I'm worried. I'm worried. This is all coming from worry. I don't want... his success is our success at the end of the day, and I want him to win that game. I just don't see it, man.
Yeah, we'll see, obviously, on Tuesday. I do, like I say, I do have faith that we can get something out of it. I do think that the one thing, and I think potentially teams have purposely avoided it with us, but we haven't had many set pieces at all, and I think that is where
against us or for
us, yeah. Right. So free kicks out wide, being able to swing those into the box, get one of the big lads at the back, Maguire, Mings, someone to step up and get a header, cause some chaos in the middle there. Like, we haven't really done. I've noticed at corners as well. We haven't been as creative as we were in 2018.
For sure.
Do you remember we had some very sort of snazzy set piece routines?
Oh, that Trippier one. Admittedly, it was against Panama, but that Trippier free kick against Panama, it was etched in my mind. It was just perfect.
And there hasn't been as much of that, and I don't know whether that's just that we've not wanted to play in that way. We've not been practicing that kind of football, and that might explain why Southgate didn't take James Ward-Prowse in the first place, because he didn't really see us being as much of a set-piece team. But then he did mention, I think in his last interview, the interview after the Czech game, he laughed and he said, "Well, we haven't scored any set-piece goals yet," and basically said that that's one of our that's one of our ways that we typically score goals.
Who do we have on set-piece? Mount took a few, didn't he?
Yeah, Mount. And then I think in the last game, I'm not sure who was taking them in the last game.
Yeah, who would be? Grealish or Sterling?
I don't think so. It wouldn't be Sterling or Grealish. Probably if we had a long one, like, a ball in, it would have been either Luke Shaw or Kyle Walker maybe taking them out wide.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Calvin Phillips can put a ball in as well. But yeah, we don't have a defined set piece, dead ball specialist set piece taker if Trippier's not on the pitch, and that is a problem. But
for sure, 100%.
It's also where, if you have Grealish in the team, he can create he can win you those free kicks.
For sure.
But so there's the question: do you think Southgate will start Jack Grealish against Germany?
No. He sticks with his. It's the Southgate 11. We can all predict. We can all see it in our minds. Foden will probably be back, because it was that yellow card that he was worried about, wasn't it? Foden will be back, but yeah, Grealish doesn't start these games. Saka doesn't, I'm afraid, and he was a good player in that last game. Sancho won't start. It'll be the Southgate 11 for sure, 100%. And the first sub will be in like the 75th minute or something stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I have very little hope that that Grealish will start, and I personally maybe wouldn't even. I probably wouldn't start him if he gave me. If I could pick the 11, I probably wouldn't. Based on this game, I wouldn't pick Grealish to start, just because I don't think that he'll be enough of a threat against this kind of German team.
Who's on their right side?
Their right side is Kimmich. Kimmich basically covers that right side, and then you've got Ginter, I think, plays there as well.
Right.
And that's it. Like, Kimmich would love, I think, to play against Jack Grealish.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I wouldn't start Grealish. I would probably go with pace. I would actually start Rashford against.
Okay, interesting.
I would start Rashford against Germany, just because Hummels is slow. I mean, do you remember that the chance that Mbappe had in the France-Germany game when Hummels made that amazing challenge?
Incredible. Yeah.
Probably should have been a penalty. And yeah, I just think maybe because Germany are going to be coming at England and they're going to be expecting to be able to score at our end of the pitch, we are going to get spaces in behind. So I would go with a bit more pace.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Does the Rashford... Carry on.
No, you go.
Does the Rashford injury thing worry you? Because I saw it came out today. I think it was Sky Sports reporting on it that he's umming and ahhing about if he needs surgery on his shoulder after the Euros before the season starts, which worries me slightly.
Yeah, maybe then Sancho.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is a tactic that we should exploit. We should expect to have less of the ball and be a bit of a counter-attacking team. 100%.
But yeah, we'll see. So my prediction is 1-0 England. And I really, really hope that we get through, because if we get, honestly, it will be huge if we get through 100%. This game.
Oh,
it is
100%.
on. It
Yeah,
is absolutely on.
for sure.
And
My tune will change drastically.
yeah,
100%. 100. I'm just preparing myself for the worst because I've not seen enough yet to see anything other than Germany trouncing all over us. But if it does change, you're completely right. It changes the
yeah,
whole perspective of the tournament.
yeah. All right, we'll park England there, and then the final game of the group stages is Sweden taking on Ukraine, the Yellow Derby,
Yellow and blue derby.
Yellow and Blue Derby as well. Yeah, those colours go very well together. What do we think? We probably Sweden. Sweden have been pretty solid, to be honest, pretty consistent.
Yeah, I don't mind Sweden. I think that they've got something about them. I think that they are a little bit underrated. Maybe because they don't have those big names that you expect anymore, apart from, Ibrahimovic was that name. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that they can do bits in this game. I think slim margin again. I think maybe like a 1-0 or a 2-1.
Who would you rather play in the next round as England if we got there?
I think probably Ukraine.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I'd rather play Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with both are kind of different
For sure, different aspects.
different animals, yeah, but yeah, I think I would rather Ukraine, but Sweden, we've beat them before in tournaments, and
I was thinking that. Yeah, I was wondering.
Hopefully beat them again. So, yeah. Gosh, it is nerve wracking. I'm kind of glad that England are on the last day of this because at least we can enjoy all the other games without knowing whether or not England go through.
It would be such a shame if we go out already. I mean, I know I'm sounding a little bit like I'd like it because it would mean the end of Southgate's job. I don't think it will, regardless of the result against Germany. But it will put a dampener on the whole tournament if we go out this early, especially with this squad and especially with how the group stage went. It's such a forgettable group stage campaign that if then we went out with a whimper,
it would be horrible.
A win against Germany, and then whatever happens in the next round, we won against Germany. We can look back on this tournament and think we won against Germany at Wembley.
Yeah.
Do you know, that moment would live on. But it would be a real shame to go out this early on.
Yeah.
Especially when huge. The route... I mean, carry on.
Can you imagine the pressure on Southgate, on the players, on everyone right now is
for sure
huge. And I hope that psychologically they're in a position where they can harness that and use that pressure and that expectation and everything. Like that's what you want. And I kind of feel like psychologically a lot of and all of these players have played huge games for their clubs before. That's the thing. They've played huge games in the Champions League, in their respective leagues, in the Bundesliga, in the Premier League.
Yeah, you've got Premier League winners all over the place, every direction you look.
Champions, loads of Champions League winners as well. With Kimmich has won the Champions League. Tony Kroos has got like 4 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, 100%.
And then the same for England. England are full of, we've got Chelsea players in there. And
do you think that a little problem that England do have is the lack of a Jordan Henson character? Or do you think that him starting that next game could be more than his footballing ability, but his ability as a captain or as a man? Because obviously Harry Kane is our captain, and for Spurs he's the vice captain. And even when Hugo was injured, and we saw that in the documentary, he strikes me more as a lead by example captain. And at the moment, he isn't leading by example in his performances. So do you think that England are lacking that man in the middle of the pitch to be like, right, this is what we're fucking doing, we're going for it? I don't know if Harry Maguire possesses that quality as well. I assume he does because he's Man United's captain. But he's been injured as well, hasn't he, of course? So if we get those two guys back, do you think that can have a bigger impact than we're giving credit for?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that Harry Kane situation as well. One, you've got I'm a guy that leads by example, or I'm a guy that's known as being a captain that leads by example rather than particularly vocally on the pitch. So you've got Harry Kane's own take on that, or how he reacts to that and how he feels about that. And then on the flip side, you've got the rest of the team actually that are probably in a position where they feel responsible as well, because they are not providing for Harry Kane.
Definitely.
And so that they feel like they're probably letting him down, because it's one of the players like that, when they say they lead by example, that usually means that the other players step their game up to try and meet your standard of play.
Right.
You know, it's not like Harry Kane like does a shot and then looks around at everyone to get confirmation that they are leading. You know, do you know what I mean? That they go, great leadership, Harry. Thanks for that. Good shot. You know, it's not doing that. It's the level of play and the commitment to the game that, you know, everyone goes, well, you know, that's my captain. Look how much effort he's putting in. I got to match that energy.
Cool.
Right. But yeah, when that captain is presumed something's not right, and he's not scoring goals, or he's not getting opportunities to score goals. So let's face it,
100%.
He's not had many opportunities to score. He had that one that he got through 1-on-1 in the Czech game, and it was a decent enough save. I still think prime in-form Harry Kane cuts in onto his right foot and puts it in the bottom left corner.
Right. Oh, bottom left, you'd say. Yeah. Or stretches it so the keeper
stretches
can't
it
reach
up into the top right or something like.
But you're absolutely right, for sure.
But yeah, you've got those two factors. So you've got the players feeling quite nervous the longer this goes on that they are doing something or they're not providing for Harry, and then Kane has got this thing of, you know, I'm the captain out here. How can I shout at Kyle Walker when he gives the ball away for not doing his job when I'm not scoring goals, which is literally my job. Like, I am the premier, you know, goal scorer of, you know, I'm the top goal scorer in the Premier League.
Right.
I'm worth 100+ million valued by Manchester City, but I'm not doing what my actual job is. That's your job, to score goals.
Right, for sure.
It's a very, very tough situation. So I don't know. Yeah, I've gone a long way about it here, but to answer your question, I do think that's where Jordan Henderson is absolutely vital. As is Harry Maguire. I think Henderson more so. I think Maguire is one of those people that has become known as a captain, but I think he's a very relatively recent in terms of his seniority in the team.
Okay.
He was still a young, you know, when Man United bought him, he was still sort of considered a young player, and I think he's matured into a leadership role, and he's a very vocal player, and we've seen that a lot with the, you know, in the times where we've not had crowds in the stadiums and TV cameras picking up his vocal leadership on the pitch, and I do think he is a really good influence. But if you're talking about respect, I think, on average, the players will have a lot more respect for Jordan Henderson as a professional than they probably do for Harry Maguire, and that's not taking anything away from Harry Maguire. It's just Henderson is an elite level captain
100%.
that has led. Probably, like in my opinion, you've got the Barcelona team, Pep's Barcelona, and Barcelona of the 3 or 4 years around that, and Klopp's Liverpool. For me, those are the two. And Fergie's United when he had Tevez, Ronaldo and Rooney. Those 3 teams are the best 3 teams of my lifetime that I've been able to appreciate. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, probably there were teams in the 90s that I wasn't really old enough to appreciate.
Aware enough
of my, like, being a proper football fan. Klopp's Liverpool, Pep's Barcelona, and Fergie's, you know, United are the 3 like elite teams of my lifetime, and Henderson was the captain of one of those 3 teams, which puts him on a platform with like Puyol and Xavi and
right
you know, those key players. Ryan Giggs, I'm not sure who was Man United captain at that time, but yeah, I think Henderson has got way more stock in the bank than Maguire has when it comes to sort of respect as a captain.
Right, yeah, for sure.
So starting him would be really good. And hopefully it would step up either Declan Rice's game or Calvin Phillips as well. So I think Rice has not been as good, I think, as we expected him to be.
Yeah. I can't remember anything remarkable from him.
No,
but that's not his job, I know. But
no, he is the whole point of you know, Rice is one of those players that does all the work, so you don't have to, sort of thing. I don't know what brand's slogan that is, but Mr.
You only notice one of those players that you only notice when they aren't doing what they should be.
Occasionally he gets he'd come up with a goal or something, but
right, yeah.
Generally he's just there to help the transition from defense to attack, to provide a layer of protection as well for the defense, and to make those interceptions and stuff. But
for sure,
I don't know. I just think he's probably been overshadowed quite a lot in some of his role by Calvin Phillips.
And getting that goal, getting the assist. Sorry.
Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think I'm optimistic, but I am worried. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this episode of the BTF podcast. We'll be back with another episode post round of 16, when it's either going to be sheer elation or we'll just be
I'll be saying I fucking told you so.
We'll rebrand as a Love Island podcast from that point onwards.
I'll come out again, and that'll be the focus.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So there we go. That is episode 61 of the BTF podcast. You can go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you are watching on YouTube. And I think if you're on Spotify, iTunes, all of those, you can follow the podcast as well. And also go and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're very active on there at the moment. We've got a lot of predictions that we post pretty much for not even pretty much, literally for every single Euros game. We post our predictions around about an hour before kickoff. And we have an exciting new factor going into our predictions, which is we are all predicting the minute of the first goal as well. And I'm looking forward to that because it's going to make every game very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will see you on the other side of the round of 16. Greg, thank you very much for co-hosting with me today.
Always, mate. Always a pleasure.
And I hope you go off and enjoy your weekend, and speak to you next week.
See you later, dude.
See you guys. Bye-bye.